So always just on, and people want to communicate to you. This is what you're going to do. Just do it like this. All right. This is your phone. You take it down to the receiver. You take it up. You take it down and you take it up. You take it and you take it up. Like take it up. Fantastic. All right. The communication gets well. And ladies and gentlemen, because of hand in hand, they get people all the way from the bottom and bring them where? On top. And this is how we're going to do it. Take it from the bottom like this. And you put it up. Do it one more time. From the bottom and put it up. Ladies and gentlemen, as they usually say, this is best done with music. Mr. Director, let's go. All right. Just move the knees. Let's go. Moving the knees. All right. There you go. Let's see the shoulders. Let me see you click. Nice. Let me see you go down and up. Hold it there. Let's go down and up. All right. Let's go down, down. Let's go up. All right. Get that phone. You have it here. All right. Take it down and up. 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 Let's start from the bottom. And then we take it up. All right, let's go from the bottom and take it up. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Bottom and take it up. One more time. Let's go from the bottom and take it up. Please high five the person standing next to you and tell them, reconsider your career. You have your seats, ladies and gentlemen. You have your seats. They usually say that things do not go wrong, things start wrong. We want to make sure that we start on the right footing. And at this particular point in time, I would like to invite a woman of God who has been to River Jordan. She is anointed and filled of the presence of the Lord. She is going to open for us with a word of prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate Irene Moore as she comes to open with a word of prayer. Let's appreciate her. Welcome. I am glad to have you here with us.
Good morning. Shall we stand to just thank God because of this day that we planned and He has brought it to fruition? Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, this morning we bow before Thee with hearts full of gratitude, O God, for this day, Abba Father, that we just planned and You have brought it to fruition. All the glory and honor are Yours. And now, dear Lord, we want to thank You for each one of us who is here, for our guests who are invited, oh Lord, and they have made it and made their time to come and be with us, oh God. We thank You even for those who are still on the way, oh God. We pray that You shall hasten their footsteps, Abba Father, so that You can bless us together, oh God, and that we shall lounge together. As we start this activity, oh God, we thank You for this far that You have brought us as hand in hand, and with all our stakeholders and with all those that are present, oh God, we don't take it for granted. As we set out this milestone, oh God, which has been our prayer, oh God, as we start forth for the next 5 years, oh God, we want to invite You to walk with us, to be with us. We thank You so much as we start off this activity, this lounge, that You shall start with us and end with us, oh God. Bless us, King of all glory, and thank You once more. For this we pray, believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Before you have your seats, ladies and gentlemen, our apologies for that. Please, as we are still upstanding, we would like to have the national anthem, Kenya national anthem, and then also the East Africa anthem.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwe tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
You may have your seats now. Thank you very much. And thank you, Irene Moore, for opening for us with a word of prayer. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I would like now to officially welcome you to the Hand in Hand Eastern Africa Strategic Plan Launch Program 2023 to 2027. We are glad and honored to have you here, delegates on the floor, our partners, and also our online guests. We are glad and honored to have you here with us. And we would also want to give an opportunity as a matter of priority and also in the interest of time to our heads of department here at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. And I would like to start with the first category, which involves people and processes. And to guide us on this is a seasoned professional with over not just 5, not just 6, but 10 years experience in both human resource and procurement disciplines, specializing in the non-profit sector. She is the head of human resource and administration at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with a warm round of applause Joyce Rugaita as she comes on stage.
Asante sana. Thank you, Bwana MC, for the great introduction, and to all our invited guests here today, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everybody who is joining us here physically today, as well as those joining us online. We're very honored that you have joined us today as we launch our strategic plan as an organization. This indeed is a great prayer and a milestone that we are able to achieve here today. Today, I'll be standing here presenting to you the strategic priority, the people and processes component, which is one of our strategic This is one of our strategic priorities that we have extended today. And thank you for the support. And before we unlock just a snippet about Hand in Hand Eastern Africa in regards to our staff complement as well our reach and spread, Hand in Hand Eastern Africa serves 34 out of the 47 counties, spread through 25 branches, and we work across the country. We look forward to extending this network of operations throughout the country to the 47 if need be. Our staff complement currently stands at 53% male employees and 47% female employees. And I think we've beat what the government is expecting, and I hope that our parliament will make a resolution towards that and ensuring that we meet that gender gap. Our strategic result number 1 is to build a high-performance, people-centric culture. And how will we do this? We will do this by ensuring that we have clarity of roles and ensure that we are responsive to our strategy with the clarity that we expect. We expect to enhance staff motivation so that they can be able to reach our clients and our members effectively. We expect to look at their workload by looking at the assessment through an assessment, also through rationalization. We expect to align the technical skills to the projects that we are implementing based on what is expected of our members and in response to our members' needs. We also look forward to outsourcing non-core functions where need be, so that we can be able to extend and be able to work on the things that really need to require our energy. Strategic results, the second one is on the implementation of growth supportive strategies and aligned organizational structures. And how will we do this? by implementing structures that support organizational strategy and implement and review and communicate the strategy aligned structures. Finally, we will be looking at the improving effectiveness and efficiency for organizational processes. And once again, how will we be able to achieve this? We'll be able to achieve this by identifying and automating any additional key processes. And I think we'll be hearing more about this through our ICT department. And we also develop standard operating procedures and what we refer to as service level agreements where necessary and agreeable to our work. We also implement cost reduction strategies where necessary so that we can be able to use the least cost and be able to be as efficient as possible. Also strengthen and streamline our procurement processes. And finally, conduct regular risk assessment so that we can understand where we need to put in more effort. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you today for joining us. We look forward to you working with us on this journey. Karibuni sana and asanteni. Karibu.
Perfectly put on the people and processes. Thank you so much, Joyce. We appreciate that. And definitely we shall walk this particular journey with you. All right, fantastic. So we want to go into the next category, which definitely involves information technology. And our speaker, ladies and gentlemen, he has championed and implemented Go Live of Cloud Ending MIS system, the first cloud-based microfinance management information system to be used in Kenya to manage group lending. How about that? The system is hosted by Salesforce, and he's also developed the user interface testing scripts carried out to the end user training. Ladies and gentlemen, he is responsible for deployment of the completed management information system and troubleshooting problems after implementation and rolling out the system in not just the HQ, but also across the branches. He is a business process engineer, he is a specialist, he is a project manager. And ladies and gentlemen, he deems himself, and I'm confident in this, as a problem solver. He is currently the head of ICT at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one and only Paul Njoroge as he comes on stage.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I take you through what we've been able to do as a hand-in-hand ICT department, from digital transformation all the way to our infrastructure. On digital transformation, hand-in-hand Eastern Africa, we run on Microsoft Business Central, so we work with Microsoft. We have an ERP that is accessible remotely from every place, all the way from Tanzania. I can see our colleagues from Tanzania, they're able to access the solution. And we are happy that all the processes, as Joyce said, we've integrated over 90% of our processes in our current ERP. We've also integrated payments, banks, and M-Pesa, which means that you're able to pay directly to the core system without depositing this direct to the bank. On group mobilization, which is our core business, we've been able to map our groups from wherever they are. So today you can tell this group is being trained from this location. You can tell how many kilometers you are from that group to wherever you are. You're able to get a location, and you can even go to wherever the group is. So that to us is an achievement, because it means we have live groups and not ghost groups. So our future plan is, of course, to go AI, artificial intelligence, and what we call machine learning. That is what we are aiming as our ICT department. On cyber security, as you can see, we are saying that today, everybody knows this, that cybersecurity threats are prevailing everywhere in every organization, and we need to take proactive measures. We've come in handy as ICT department to make sure that we are on top of things. And in implementing this, we have, of course, implemented two-factor authentication in all our solutions, whether emails, whether the core system. we have implemented what we call two-factor authentication. We have also implemented firewall, and all our servers are running on what we call DMZ. This is an area where it is protected from outside, and therefore we are safe on that. We've also put in place VPN connections. Wherever we are, we connect through secure environment, and also we run on cloud-based antivirus. We are able to update and get to know even as viruses and even ransomware try to attack our environment. We are top of that. Our future plan on this is, of course, to implement zero trust. Zero trust, ladies and gentlemen, I can see our chief guest is coming. I request that we be upstanding. Thank you. Yeah, much welcome. Yes, much welcome. On cloud computing, as we know, we've got two environments, cloud computing and on-premise. We are able to gel the two and make sure that they communicate to each other. And therefore, as Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, we are not left behind when it comes to technology on cloud and again on-premise. On infrastructure, as you can see here, we've implemented what we call data recovery centers so that in case of any disaster, we are able to keep the organization running. And therefore, our DR site is in Thika. And on it, we have also implemented power backup solutions. In case KPLC, as we've seen of late, that things are happening, we are able to keep our organization running. And this can go up to 5 days without KPLC. So again, we've implemented what we call virtualization. We are able to ensure that every server is on standing alone, virtualized on its own environment. And on all this, security is key to us. We've implemented security so that every attack that comes, we are able to handle. We've actually implemented real-time security mechanisms. We are able to tell every time we've got any incoming attack. On user support, we know and recognize that users are an asset to any organization. And therefore, we've implemented a mechanism whereby we are able to assist our users as they come with every issue. Even our branch officers at the field, we are able to make sure that they're able to recruit groups, they're able to do loan application real time in our core system. And if there are any need of support, we are there to offer that support because this is an asset to us. We do training to them on security issues and again on system usability. So that's the picture for Hand in Hand ICT. And therefore, I welcome you to join us to continue doing this and implement our strategy 2023-2027. Thank you. Over to the MC.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njoroge. And we can even confidently say that it is also safe to work from home with the various systems that you put in place, the security, the 2FA, the firewall. We appreciate that. Let's appreciate him with another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. We would like to also appreciate the presence of Her Excellency Swedish Ambassador here to Kenya. We are glad to have you here with us. It's an honor and it's a privilege. Let's appreciate her, ladies and gentlemen, one more time with a round of applause. Fantastic. Please turn to the person sitting next to you and tell them it is good to be here with you. Yes. Turn to the other one and tell them, stay with me, all right? Stay with me. Probably we owe you a phone call, we owe you something, a proposal, a meeting. This can all be arranged here. Okay, so first of all, ladies and gentlemen, we were able to hear from some of our HODs, head of departments at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. And also now we would like to just switch it up a bit. We will hear from the other respective heads as we proceed with the program. But at this particular point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call upon a man who has not just 10, 15, but 20 years of experience in terms of leadership. He is a leader par excellence and a strategist extraordinaire. He is currently the Chief Executive Officer at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. Does a fantastic job to mobilize the team, lead them, go before them, and also make sure that the set deliverables are met. Ladies and gentlemen, would you put your hands together and give a warm round of applause to the one and only Mr. Alfred Wambugu as he comes to open the session. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Moiruri. Yeah, I didn't know that you know me that well. It's very exciting to stand here today. And as I prepare to maybe give my remarks, I just want to again appreciate all of you having taken time and honored us. And some things, you may ask how things start in life. Before I came to Hand in Hand, I had worked in other places. But when I look back, something reminds me that I was being prepared for this work. Because when we were teenagers, my mother was in a self-help group, and they were making tanks using some bags and plastering them with cement. And they started with our home. The first tank was made in our home for harvesting rainwater. And I was not a member of the group, but I was involved in every part of the process. And after the tank was built, she started sending us to the other homes. Every day the women were doing it. And that helped us to share the skill. And we were handsomely rewarded because they would make us a cup of tea with milk and lots of sugar and fry some eggs, which was very rare. So that was the reward I always remembered, and I loved being near the women groups. So I'm back to serving the various women that we serve today. Thank you. So allow me to make my remarks because, again, I don't want to stray too much. I've been warned by Dennis to keep to my script. So our chief guest today, the ambassador of Sweden in Kenya, and all our esteemed donors, partners, the board, invaluable staff, and the entire Hand in Hand Eastern Africa family. It gives me a great joy to welcome you to the launch of the strategic plan for the years 2023 to 2027. I begin by acknowledging that you all look very well and thanking you for setting aside time to be here. We are honored that you came. Hand in Hand Eastern Africa started operations in Kenya in 2010, and by December 2017, we were operating with 21 field offices in 27 counties of Kenya. Since that time, we have launched 2 strategic plans, and today we are about to launch the 3rd one, which is a testament to our growth and resilience. Allow me to take some time to paint a picture of the context in which we launch our 3rd strategic plan. Globally, the world is currently at war. In Ukraine, the Russian attacks, the conflicts in other parts of the world are evident. The global economy is reeling from the shocks and effects of COVID-19. And now we are entering a recession, and the outlook from most economic analysts is not favorable. In the African context, climate change continues to wreak havoc on our farmers, even as the wars also rage in countries. And there's a lot of pressure to repay debts because external funders are there asking for those debts. Kenya, our primary concern, is no better, for where mounting prices for everyday commodities, the changing tax collection regime, Mounting fuel and power prices continue to rob our people of their choice, their dignity, and their hope. Just this week, a report came in the newspapers that the inflation rate had surpassed the bank's interest rates. We continue to see bandits in some of the regions where we operate, and this also speaks around poverty. So when the picture is bleak, allow me to remind us this morning that this is the exact reason why we exist: to combat poverty. We also want to inspire hope, dignity, and choice in the people whom we reach out to every day. It is in such times as this that we find meaning in what we do. And that is why we cannot afford the luxury of getting lost. And that's why we need a strategic plan that helps us to keep on the course. We are proud that of the second strategy, which took us from 2018 to 2022, and we were able to achieve much through it. Although it was a big casualty because of the pandemic, we were proud that we maintained fidelity to it and also to our core values. We are still here, even when many entities folded. And in this new strategy, we have decided to draw lessons from what we learned in that phase. And we have also adapted to the changing circumstances in the context under which we operate. I recognize that we do not operate in a vacuum. And for us to be successful, we run on the goodwill of so many other people. We are grateful for the goodwill that the people of our country, the government, our partners have extended to us. We thank the government of Kenya so much for an enabling environment. Our donors and partners also require stable environments before they can commit deployment of resources. We are glad that that government has, and by and largely, ensured a stable and predictable and friendly environment. We are even more appreciative of our donors and partners who have stood with us through very tough times. The support came through, the partners stood, and we appreciate that despite all these global downturns, we still have received support that has allowed us to continue. We are even more appreciative of our repeat funders. We look at this as a vote of confidence in what we are doing and what we are hoping to achieve, and also in the integrity of our systems. Allow me to especially single out the government of Sweden, which has been our donor since inception. They've never left our side, and because of that, others also have come and joined the work of prosperity for our members with us. So thank you very much, also Ambassador, Your Excellency, Caroline Virginie, who is our chief guest today. The question that I would want to answer in a few minutes is that I have to share with you is straightforward. It's why we do what we do in Hand Eastern Africa. But to answer the why, we must also answer the what. We at Hand in Hand fight poverty. We fight poverty through entrepreneurship. The question I would like to answer again in the new few minutes is why we exist. The simple answer is we exist again to fight that poverty. And over the last 10 years, we have perfected a model which offers training to groups and individuals and spurs them out of poverty. Ours is a 4-step model and an enterprise model that comprising 7 training modules. And that starts with setting up and mobilizing self-help groups. They act as savings groups. They we also deliver enterprise skills through the training. We enhance financial management as well as financial access and providing linkage to broader markets. While entrepreneurship is the strategic focus of Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, the work is complemented by efforts in thematic areas that increase resilience to climate change. We promote also advocacy and human rights. We enhance gender mainstreaming, regenerative agriculture, and circular economy, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, our chair of the board who is also here with us, will mention more about the depth of our strategy. And for me, I would want to say that our strategy recognizes a key weakness in our operations. And that is why we are saying we offer interventions. And some of these interventions are still not adequate. So it has been an experience for us in the recent past that when the cycle of our interventions is coming to an end, our members are asking for more. They are asking us to stay longer. So we have been looking at saying, what can we do to deal with this issue where you have brought somebody out of poverty and they are standing, but they are still not able to walk or run as you would. So at that time, their enterprises and ventures are just picking up and feel that they need more support. And we sometimes find ourselves exiting at that point. So our new strategy has anchored more staying so that we deepen and we strengthen. Secondly, the new strategy envisages heavier focus on the circular economy. The circular economy reduces materials use, redesigns materials and products and services to be less resource intensive, and recaptures waste as a resource to manufacture new materials and products. Our previous strategies have contained provisions and policy guidelines on climate change and global warming, but this one takes a more direct approach by placing heavy reliance on enterprises we support being sustainable and in line with the circular economy. The strategy that we launched today envisages Hand in Hand to be the go-to partner in enterprise development and creation. To accomplish this, we have given a bigger focus to strategic communications, and often we have found smaller organizations relative to Hand in Hand, both in scale and impact, having greater communications. So we are saying we have not communicated enough, and we will now communicate more and more, and maybe run the risk of over-communicating. This translates into those other organizations having more buy-in from their stakeholders as they operate, and also in terms of raising funds. So we intend to, again, say more, brand and position ourselves to attract the partners we need in this fight against poverty. Finally, someone recently asked me what Hand in Hand in Eastern Africa will look like at the end of the 5 years. I offered a few hopes that I would like to share with us today, that by 2027, I hope that we'll have perfected our model, right? Beyond that, we will also hope that it will be able to deploy it even to other individuals, other organizations. They reach more using the same model because it works. Because we cannot be everywhere, but with partnering, we can have more and more people fight poverty alongside us. At the end of the 5 years, I hope that after we have perfected our model, and we'll also have achieved greater efficiency in the way we do our work, because resources are scarce. Efficiency will start internally, and again, it will also enhance how we present the results that we beget by our interactions with our members. Finally. As we strive for efficiency, we also expect that we'll generate more resources for ourselves and for our work. It's not about us, because I say every time a member succeeds or a beneficiary succeeds, that is our bottom line. I contemplated how to best summarize everything that I've spoken about today, and what those that have spoken before and will speak will have to say. I would like you to take home today that you have found a partner organization who helps, who supports, and who delivers in enterprise development. I hope that you look at the 20,000 you have as an individual and the 200 million that you have as an organization, and it is earmarked for impact, and you'll not hesitate to come to us as a partner in enterprise and job creation. I hope you have, as you lived here today, with a greater grasp of the urgency of the need to fight poverty, and with a better appreciation of that power that being able to scale will give us together. I hope that we all be in agreement that we do not have the luxury of time. People are slipping into poverty every day, and the gains that had been made over years, some of them have been eroded. So we are in a state of urgency. So I hope that you will think of Hand in Hand Eastern Africa as that partner. We also appreciate the teams that have made this possible in the past, and we want also to enlist more and more. So as I close, I'll say that we want to be a partner, we want to participate, and we want to advocate in this fight against poverty. May God bless you all. Thank you.
All right, definitely there is an urgency to make sure that we are able to work with people and make sure that we alleviate the poverty that is there. Thank you so much for those warm remarks. Let's appreciate Mr. Wambugu one more time. All right, fantastic. At this particular point, I would like to invite our board chair to come and give us her remarks. And I am confident that she will be able to just put us in the right place so that we can be able to go forward. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate Amalia Johnson as she comes on stage. Thank you, Amalia. We are glad and honored to have you here.
To our chief guest today, to our sponsors, our partners and donors, the whole Hand in Hand Eastern Africa team, and of course our members, to the many friends of Hand in Hand who are here, good morning. As Ian very warmly welcomed me, my name is Amalia Johnson. I'm the chair of the board of directors at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. I too thank you all on behalf of the board and the institution for taking the time to be here this morning. We're excited to have you join us as we commit ourselves to this new challenge. We are ever so grateful. As the board, we recognize that this day is especially important for the executive team. The executive team are those who will have the honorable task of implementing the strategic plan on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to try to be brief because I think what we really want is for you to hear more of the strategy directly from them. I know we've had a few presentations, there's more to come, so I will try and keep brief. As board chair, I want to begin by thanking all those who took part in the crafting, drafting, and formulation of the strategic plan. Thank you for your expertise, your insights, and your time putting together this ambitious and compelling document. As the board of Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, we have the responsibility to be custodians of the strategic plan for the next 5 years. However, we're also partners of the organization's executive and of its staff. As a board, we see the strategic plan as an opportunity, an evolution, and an exciting next step for the organization. We are fully behind the strategic plan, ready to support the executive as they roll it out, and we're excited to see it become a reality over the next 5 years. I want to assure our members and our communities that Hand in Hand Eastern Africa will go above and beyond to see that this strategy is implemented fully and well. I do want to be brief, but on the rare occasions that we're all gathered together, I think it's important to spare a moment or two to think about how the impact we set out in our work, the numbers we tend to communicate, how that translates in the real world. I recently had the opportunity to visit some of our members, and to put it mildly, it was an edifying experience. I got the opportunity to meet Joyce. Joyce is a lady from Nairobi who runs a pig farm on her small plot of land. As somebody who's not based here in Kenya, I have to say Nairobi is probably the one city in the world where you can have a pig farm right in the center of town. And then a few moments away, interact with wild animals in the national park. It's unique and it's honestly amazing. But back to Joyce. Having gone through enterprise development training with Hand in Hand, Joyce decided to shift from subsistence farming, which mainly fed her family, to focus on pigs. She can now make around 200,000 Kenyan shillings a year, and she regularly sells to one of the region's biggest meat suppliers. Two particular things struck me when I met Joyce. First, she was really proud of the fact that she had the skills not just to make sure her pigs were producing excellent meat, but that they were also fertilizing the grounds of her small plot so that she could expand to a vegetable farm. That allowed her to diversify her income and for her to feel more resilient. Equally striking was the warmth and joy in her voice as she was telling me how confident she felt now, how she no longer worried about financing her daughter's university education. The sheer optimism for the future was something that really stayed with me, and it was really inspiring. Separately, I had the privilege of meeting one of our farmers called Lillian. She's from Nyahururu, and Lillian and her family were direct casualties of COVID, of the pandemic. When the pandemic broke out, Lillian's husband lost his job, and that left her as the sole breadwinner. She was essentially trying to eke out an income from a small family farm, again, subsistence farming and selling what the family didn't consume. But Lillian had a passion already from the start. She had a passion for fruit because, as she put it, there is always a market for that. So she joined Hand in Hand. She successfully went through business skills training. She learned how to keep financial records, and she did some simple market research. Soon, Lillian had a thriving strawberry business, but her passion didn't stop her there. Leveraging this passion and her business skills, she secured a loan, and that allowed her to invest in packaging. That in turn enables her now to, she advertises on social media, and she's able to send her produce to customers. And she uses Google, because what else? She uses Google to identify best practices to apply on her farm. Through this, she's boosted her income, and now she generates up to 20,000 shillings a month. That means that she can meet the needs of her household, and she's able to keep her boys in school, both in high school and at university. So now for a moment, imagine Lillian or Joyce as individual entrepreneurs and multiply that by 300,000 entrepreneurs that Hand in Hand has worked with in the last 10 years. That's why what we do is so important. I focused here on the individual entrepreneurs, but the work that Hand in Hand does with groups and community organizations is also really crucial. After the 2007 violence broke out, a village was formed in Makuno, also in Nyahururu. That became home to those who'd been forced to flee. Having been displaced, their misfortune was then compounded when they faced multiple years of drought. The community formed a CBO, went through training with Hand in Hand, and that saw them set up a thriving community garden. As well as producing beans, spinach, butternut squash, and beetroot, this community garden acts as a demonstration site for farmers, where they can test and trial techniques that they can then take back to their own plots. Through this, the community is now better prepared to face future droughts, and they no longer face the malnutrition issues that have plagued them for years. These are snippets of the challenges, the very real challenges that are with us and that Albert touched on. But they're also a demonstration of the equally real opportunities that Hand in Hand has to be a facilitator of hope, dignity, and choice, as we like to put it. To all our partners, sponsors, supporters, I would urge you, if I urge you for one thing, I would urge you to come and visit Hand in Hand projects at least once a year, to travel around, to hear from members themselves about what they're doing and how they're realizing their goals. It will give you a fresh appreciation of why our work is essential and why it's worth it and why we aim to spend the next 5 years doing even more. I was asked recently what makes this new strategy different from the outgoing one. As Albert says, this is our third strategic plan. If I were to answer that in one phrase, it would be this: purposeful optimism. The new strategy hopes to have twice the impact in half the time. Putting that differently, we hope to achieve double the impact we've had in the last 10 years, give or take, in the next 5 years. Some might be tempted to call that blind optimism, but it's not. It's not blind. It's purposeful because we know what we want to do and how we're going to do it. And it's optimistic because we remain guided by our belief that opportunities for growth and prosperity can exist for all. I look at the last 10 years as a period where we were proving our concept. The period between sort of planting the seed and when the sprouts finally finally start sprouting. It's a testing period, if you will. And that's something we've successfully navigated. But now our roots are anchored, our concept is proven, and our testing really is done. This next phase, I believe, is really about growth. Having proven our methods work and that our impact is measurable, we've established a track record that we hope will give both new and existing supporters and funders the confidence to give us further resources so that we can continue to scale our impact. That's why this new strategy really looks at growing almost every segment of our operations. We want to expand our reach and deepen our impact. We also need to retain our best people and to continue to build the team. We want to make our systems more efficient so that we can go further, faster. And we need to go all out in resource mobilization and management. And crucially, a little bit, as Albert said, we need to communicate to the world just a little bit louder than we perhaps have done in the past. All of these are essential pillars to the strategic plan. And of course, you'll hear much more about them as colleagues come up later on. Our purposeful optimism hasn't blinded us to the risks and the challenges that we face in our work and as we implement the strategic plan. We're well aware of the economic climate in which we're operating, both locally and globally. Mobilizing resources in a recessed economy is no small task, and we know this. In his speech, Albert mentioned the urgency of our mandate. And when you look at the drought that has almost wiped out the country's food reserves, the rising costs that are robbing many of our members of their resilience and pushing them back into poverty, I think we can all agree there's true urgency in what it is we hope to achieve. At the same time, we also know our impact will be limited if we don't join ongoing discussions that are essential to collective progress, adding our voice to others demanding climate solutions, and highlighting the need for progress on global ambitions like the Sustainable Development Goals. We risk failure if we're not part of conversations that form the regulatory framework overseeing non-governmental organizations in Kenya. And we likewise need to engage in conversations facilitating a strong enabling environment for entrepreneurs to allow them to continue to thrive. Lastly, if we want to succeed, we can't be too rigid in our approach. A little bit, as Albert alluded in his speech, I think COVID-19 taught us something in the sense that there's always going to be things we cannot control. But what we need to do is to be ready to adapt, to innovate, to meet these new challenges as they emerge, but also retain our core focus and mission. So the challenges are many, but I can assure everyone here that Hand in Hand Eastern Africa is more than ready to meet them. The message I hope you go home with today is that our model has been proven, it works, and it's effective. We know what we do matters, and rather than lowering our ambitions in the face of challenges, we raise them. This is our purposeful optimism and how we will double our reach and impact to 650,000 members in the next 5 years. I did promise to take short time. I'm not sure I kept to that, but let me conclude. I'd like to conclude first by thanking all of you. Thank you for your partnership, your collaboration, your help, your time, and to many of you, thank you for your resources. That's what allows us to do what we do. To the CEO and the executive, as well as the full hand-in-hand staff, I think I can speak on behalf of the whole board, many of whom are here today, when I say that we're ready to be stewards of this strategy. We look forward to supporting you and your team however we can as you implement the strategy. We see ourselves as partners together to ensure that we succeed. To our funders, partners, and supporters, we're committed to ensuring that the resources you entrust with us go to the right places and have maximum impact. And most importantly, to our members, your resilience, your stories, your lives continue to inspire us, and your victories are our victories. We remain fully committed to you. Thank you so much for your attention.
Let's appreciate Amalia one more time, Johnson. We usually say that dreams are valid, but fantasies are not. And why I'm saying that is because when I was listening to Amalia and she's talking about being optimistic, but also being purposeful and also having a clear vision that it's about time now we also now grow in this particular strategic sector. And I love that presentation because I could actually just see she's actually being purposeful and also optimistic at the same time with that level of growth. Thank you so much, Amalia. We absolutely appreciate you and we're glad to have you in our board and we're looking forward to a fantastic 5 years. All right. Great. So thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me see by a show of hands, how many of us would love just to go for a cruise, just to go on the sea, get into the ship, just go for a lovely cruise, cool air, the cool breeze, just 1 month, leave everything behind and just go on a cruise. I see that. We definitely need a holiday and we're just ending Q1. All right, so thank you for that. So what I want us to do, ladies and gentlemen, is that I would like to invite you to the Hand in Hand Eastern Africa Cruise. Sit back and relax and enjoy this session with us as we go on the cruise and as we take you through and have a good grasp of what we want to achieve, the strategy that is ahead of us, and then now we can be able to stay on board and cruise together. With that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call upon the next speaker. This is a lady who is a financial expert, and she has spent 15 years in the banking industry, working capital and also on the structures and payment solutions for not just medium-sized corporates, but also large corporates. She has had the privilege of working with supranationals, international development organizations, financial institutions, large and medium local corporates to deliver transformational working capital payment solutions across the region. She is self-driven, tick that box, knowledgeable, tick that box, dependable with an outgoing personality. She's currently the senior business leader and country manager at Visa. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Eva Ngugi Sarwari as she comes on stage. Welcome, Eva. We are glad to have you here with us.
The chief guest, the Hand in Hand community, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. For a minute, I wondered who he was talking about. So let me just kick off by saying how happy we are as Visa to be partnering with Hand in Hand and to commend the team for the wonderful work they do for the community. We are honored to be among the guests today as you launch your new strategy. Our collaboration with Hand in Hand can be summed up by 3 stories. The first story is that of a young lady called Damiana, a story that I came across in one of Hand in Hand's annual reports. Damiana's business involves selling dried and deep fried fish in Kawangware. And in the year 2020, she was making 18,000 shillings in sales every month. And yet she felt she could do much better. Damiana joined Hand in Hand's accelerator program designed to help successful micro-entrepreneurs take their business to new heights. She was soon allocated a mentor and selected for additional training in digital marketing and sales, including instructions on building her online product portfolio and setting up accounts on Facebook and WhatsApp for business. She also became a retailer on Jumia. 5 months later, Damiana's business was transformed. Through her online platforms, she secured contracts from 3 high-end restaurants based in Nairobi. As of 2022, her sales were worth 56,000 shillings a month, 56,000 shillings a month, and her profit margin had increased by 70%. This was still during COVID. So what does Damiana's fish business have to do with Visa? That brings me to my second story. Damiana was part of Hand in Hand's Kenya Microenterprise Success Program, funded by Visa, which was launched in 2020, targeting existing small business owners, as well as first-time entrepreneurs living below the poverty line. Visa dedicated $2.4 million and partnered with Hand in Hand to offer business and financial skills training, mentorship and financial services to low-income communities around Nairobi, focusing on two primary groups: individuals hoping to start a business and established micro business owners looking to grow their business. The 3-year program provided 8,200 first-time entrepreneurs, 80% of whom were women, with the core business training needed to start their own micro enterprise. It also offered advanced training to 1,600 participants, including over 1,200 women, such as Damiana, who already owned and operated small businesses. More than 80% of the members reported improved financial management skills, with both first-time and existing entrepreneurs indicating that they were more financially resilient. The program also created over 5,000 jobs against an initial target of 2,700, again, during a COVID period. While first-time entrepreneurs also increased their profitability by an average of 15%, with existing small business owners boosting their profits by an average of 95%. All program members also received business and financial training, with existing small business owners being given additional mentoring and support to help them scale up their business. This included training in social media and digital marketing to help them link them up with larger markets and access to credit. So why would Visa, a company known for being the world's largest payment network, fund such a program? And this brings me to my final story, which is around purposes as a company. We are a trusted network and a world leader in digital payments, with a mission to remove barriers and connect more people to the digital economy. We believe that economies that include everyone everywhere uplift everyone everywhere. Part of Visa's commitment is to advance inclusive, equitable, and sustainable economic growth that allows everyone everywhere to thrive. Our focus is on driving initiatives that use the scale of our network, our products, our financial resources, and the collective expertise and commitment of our employees to reach those traditionally underserved, providing them with access to resources that can help their economic livelihoods, businesses, and communities. We do this through our social impact initiatives, in focusing in 3 broad areas. The first is small and micro businesses, who we believe are the backbone of our economy. We are committed to providing tools and resources to help empower them with skills, solutions, and access to networks and financial services to fund, run, and grow their businesses. The second area we focus on is equity and inclusion. We believe that communities and economies thrive when all individuals and businesses are included in the formal financial system and can benefit from financial and digital access. Our initiatives and partnerships focus on helping to enable equitable access to the financial and digital ecosystem for everyone, everywhere. The third and final area is community. We are committed to strengthening these communities in which we live and work by using our resources, our network, and the talent of our global employees to make a positive social impact where it's most needed. Therefore, the work that Hand in Hand does resonates with our social impact areas, as well as our purpose as a company. That is why we're proud to call you our partners. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, our commitment as Visa is that we continue to seek out partnerships and opportunities, such as the one we have with Hand in Hand, that treat the traditionally underserved, providing them with the access to resources that can help improve the economic livelihoods and businesses and communities. Thank you once again, Hand in Hand, for inviting us for the launch of your new strategy. And we look forward to working with you as we continue to inspire hope, dignity, and choice in our communities. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the session.
Thank you for that, Eva. We absolutely appreciate that. I definitely love your wealth of experience when it comes into the financial sector. And would you say that the future is fintech? Would you? there's a space for everyone. All right. Why I'm keen on that is because definitely with the way things are evolving, and when it comes to the payment platforms, definitely with the fintechs coming up, I was listening to you and I could imagine the SMEs down there, the small scale farmers, if they have these payment platforms and we can be able to grow with them. And that is why if there's a time that we ever need that kind of partnership also with Visa, the time is so now. Help me appreciate Eva one more time with a round of applause. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that you will notice in our program is the beauty of collaboration. We invite a guest speaker, then we invite one of us from Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. And why we're doing that is so that we can be able to bring out the beauty of collaboration and partnership, because we strongly believe that the future definitely is collaboration. To our online viewers, we are glad and honored to have you here with us. If you have any queries, please, you can be able to use the chat room to communicate to us. But also, we would like to hear where you're catching us from. If you're catching us from any of the counties, we would like to know that. So please, if you can be able to just put it on the chat room, and then now we can be able to engage with you even as we proceed with the program. So thank you very much. At this particular point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from one of our heads of department at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, and we want to go into the category of program, milestones, and impact. And to guide us in this particular conversation, ladies and gentlemen, he is a man who has a wealth of experience when it comes to organizational leadership. And he has not just 5, 6, 7, but 17 years of program management experience spanning from various thematic areas, including agriculture, livelihoods, entrepreneurship, climate resilience, emergency and relief programming. He is currently the Chief Programs Officer at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, leading the programs department in the organization. He is a man of poise, he is well-spoken, and he is reserved. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Japhet Muli as he comes on stage.
Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you so much. I thank you all, chief guests and all the invited guests, and all of us partners, donors, and the staff and the board and everyone who is invited and those who are watching us online. Thank you for being part of us. I'm happy to be here. This is a good experience. I never knew that I'll do community development also, but sometime in my class in the university, I did very well in the only single unit for community development, and it changed my mind. Then I added my passion with agriculture, and I started seeing the vision. So this is a journey, and we thank God for this opportunity to see you here. I want to take you through our programmatic approach. I believe you'll enjoy and see how you fit within our focus in the next 5 years. I would start by telling you how we do things. Hand in Hand, of course, is about entrepreneurship, and that's why I joined the organization. Everything we do, whichever thematic area, we do it to see the business focus in it, and we want to increase incomes for the people we serve with. We start with self-help mobilization to help people come together and have that social capital and work together. Then we proceed with business training. We support them on capacity to access credit. And then we also train them to add value to their products so that they can get more premiums from what they sell. And then we also link them, help them get linkages to the market so that they can find people who will need their products and they'll get money from there. All this leads to enterprise development and creation of sustainable jobs. So that's all we do. And we are happy you're here to see it and do it with us. What have we done in the last 10 years? Our CEO talked about the milestones, but I want just to show you the figures. Since the year 2010, we've worked with more than 300,000, exactly 395,000 members. Those are the beneficiaries we've worked with, in a total of 19,000 self-help groups. So that's a population that we've touched in the last 10 years. Of course, we want to double that in the next 5 years, so you can see the ambition and why we need your support. Those 395,000 members have created 365 enterprises. You can imagine the jobs that come from there are more than 500,000. And this is a joy to see people increasing income and creating employment for themselves and also for others. I've talked of credit access. We have moved almost a billion Kenya shillings to these self-help groups, to their members personally. They access loans to do their businesses, and we are thankful to our donors for supporting us to have that kind of a fund that helps people who cannot access money in the banks to get money and do business. So that almost a billion Kenya shillings in the last 10 years has gone out in form of loans, 81,000 loans to be specific, and this is what has helped also in the enterprise development. Moving forward, I want to talk about the milestones that we've covered in the last 5 years, the strategic plan 2018-2022. In that period, we were targeting to have 100,000 members, and we surpassed the target and got 162,000 members who fully passed through our program. They were trained and they started enterprises. The total enterprises that we created were 128,000 from a target of 66,000. And this, you can see, we are not under targeting, but we keep the ambition even of working with new people. Sorry, it's not moving. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I thought we were moving together. But those are the numbers. As I say, just in a second, I can repeat just for you to see. On the right, you can see the 395,000 members from 19,000 self-help groups. And then you can also see the enterprises, the 365,000 towards the bottom left. And they have created 510,000 jobs. And then the money, the Kenya shillings that we've moved in terms of enterprise incubation fund, almost 1 billion Kenya shillings in form of 81,000 loans. Sorry about that. The milestones. Sorry. Thank you. So the milestones, I'd say that in the last strategic plan that concluded in 2022 December, we had targeted to work with 100,000 members, but we surpassed up to 162,000. And those members created 128,000 enterprises, which led to creation of jobs. And I was explaining why the surpassing of the targets. We keep on engaging more partners. We keep on talking to more people. So we are not limited to the target that we set. Out of those 128,000 enterprises, 101,000 are women-led and women-owned, and 24,000 are youth-owned. And in that period, we distributed 33,000 loans. Of course, the jobs, you can see them, the jobs are 174,000. So what are we going to do next? Of course, our CEO has talked about the target and the board chair. We are doubling what we have done in the last 10 years in 5 years. So the ambition is big. We want to see out of that 650,000 members in the next 5 years, we want to see 80% of them being women empowered economically, 40% being youth, and at least 20% being men. And this ambition, we believe it to transform lives, it will transform communities, to support even the government in the vision that it has in strengthening the economy. I'll go to the thematic focus. As I said, we do entrepreneurship. Our job is to eradicate poverty through enterprise development, but we do that in various thematic areas. We don't select for them. They fit very well according to their environment, according to the capabilities, according to the support mechanisms that they can achieve. So one of it is about general entrepreneurship. We want to socioeconomically empower people. We are also very strong in agriculture. You'll see that 80% of our members are in agriculture enterprises. And this in agriculture, we do the value chains approach. We do mixed enterprises in agriculture. And we recently introduced regenerative agriculture, which works to revitalize the environment, even as we increase agricultural productivity. We are also strong on resilience to climate change. We want all the businesses to be climate resilient, and we're working with the various stakeholders and partners to make sure that we are contributing to reduction of global warming. And also another thematic area that we're working in is about human rights, and this we call human-based approach to entrepreneurship. We realize that some communities cannot fit directly into our programs without supporting them to enhance even the self-confidence and even the acceptability in the community. Sometimes communities are not allowing women to do business. They are not allowing them to make decisions on finances. So we have a human rights approach to entrepreneurship, which of course comes with training, sensitizing the communities to accept the minorities and the disadvantaged and allow them to thrive. We've seen women getting strong and taking leadership positions at home and even in the community. We also have a thematic area of waste management, which is growing very strong, as I'll share in a nutshell. In agriculture, as I've said, we have 80% of our program members being agriculturists doing farming. And we want to do this with sensitivity and all the environmental integrity that we can have so that we can restore and revitalize the environment for it to support us to have the right ecosystem services. Waste management, so far we have had a number of programs in waste, and they are doing very well. As you can see from the screen, we have worked with more than 3,000 beneficiaries on waste, looking at waste as an opportunity. Of course, with the first objective of even making the environment better, but also making money from the waste value chain. Most of it is around plastic, but there's a lot of programming around waste that is bringing a lot of support to the communities. We've seen more than 2,000 tons of plastic recycled and people making money out of that. We've seen more than 2,000 micro enterprises around waste started and thriving, and 3,000 jobs created. And we've seen income uplift of more than 6,000 shillings, people growing from 6,000 to 12,000 in a month through waste management. And this is something that we are proud of. Human rights approach, I just talked about it, but we have worked with, in the last period, we've worked with more than 4,000 women, and they have had improved voices in their household. You can imagine women making money, but the men making the decision. That's a scenario that we have seen. We've seen communities that do dairy. The morning milk, which is the biggest quantity, belongs to the man. And the evening milk, just part of it belongs to the woman. And the woman cannot make decisions around that milk, the money that comes from that milk. So that is something that we are changing, bringing empowerment to decision-making and responsibility within the communities. We have seen more than 3,900 women realize their rights and start claiming those rights through the community-based organizations that we work with. And we've seen women in those communities, more than 3,600 starting enterprises. For example, the Maasai women, they are not even sometimes allowed to have the ID. The national identity card is kept by the man because for them, the woman is a child. But we are changing that. We are seeing a lot of transformation and we are moving forward. On value chains development thematic area, we are having the value chains approach to make sure that people focus their entrepreneurship, they can specialize, they can make good money from what they do. So we've seen communities come to different value chains like the dairy cow milk and the poultry value chain, Irish potato, among others in agriculture and other thematic areas. Focused value chains development is very important. It is production based on a market. We take the market systems development approach, and this is bringing a lot of transformation around the women and the men that we work with. In summary, I want to talk about the sustainability approach that we have. We start with the end in mind, because we cannot be with our community forever. For us is to inspire hope, dignity, and choice, but just for a short time, a period of 3 years, 5 years, and then we exit to another community. So we start with the communities, focusing on how we are going to exit. And one way that we do that is from the beginning, we start with self-help mobilization, and this leads to community-based organizations. So we allow these communities and to strengthen them to form community-based organizations so that they can have synergy in production, in aggregation of produce, and in marketing. They have more bargaining power. They can access inputs at reasonable prices because of that scale. And that's a good exit strategy that is working. People can own their own businesses and companies together. We are also working with the community to strengthen the community capacity. And we do this by identifying community resource persons who have some skills, and they are learned, they are trained. Some of them have not gone to school, but they have skills, and we work with them to help us in mobilizing the community and training the community. When we exit that community, the resource persons continue the work that we've been doing together with them. Finally, we also facilitate linkage to financial services to allow communities to access more money. Once we do our enterprise incubation fund, we also link them to banks, microfinance institutions, and I'm glad Equity is here. We are discussing a lot of that, and other financial institutions. Kiva is here. They've been supporting us, and we are helping people to come to that scale when they can get big loans from banks and do big business. I want to stop there, Bwana MC, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Muli. If there is a man who is in touch with what is happening on the ground, that definitely has to be Mr. Muli. You are definitely in touch. I love what I saw on the screen and how the program is even just affecting and impacting not only in the hundreds, but even in the thousands. And we're glad and honored to be associated with that. Thank you, Mr. Muli. We appreciate you, and we are proud to be associated. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, our next presentation is on finance. And our next speaker, this is a man, when we come to consider his area of expertise, it is first of all on executive leadership, financial management, strategic planning, regional and global management, banking industry, international collaboration, trend focusing, stakeholder management, climate adaptation finance, value creation. Definitely hand in hand, when they were looking for a finance manager, definitely they went and made sure that they have the very best of the cream. Ladies and gentlemen, he is currently the Chief Financial Officer at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. And when I see him, I see that this is someone who can be able to lay down and run the financial reporting very, very well. He is none other than CPA Daniel Mwaneke. Let's appreciate him as he comes on stage.
Thank you very much. You can be very sure that I never thought it was me. But now that it is me, I have to present the financial outlook. And first of all, I appreciate everyone who is here. I appreciate everyone who is here. And for us to understand all what Bwana Muli have said about the impact, the first thing that we need to do is to understand our previous strategy. How have we fared on the previous strategy? And some of us, the questions would ask is whether we were affected by the COVID, what happened, where are we now? And we look at that graph, I think it is going to give you the story that we were at 511 million. That was in 2018. You can see the period of COVID. And you can see that even if it was not affecting us here in Kenya, our donors were being affected. And you can see kind of a flat graph that indicating that there was no much growth during the COVID season. And one of the things that we appreciate as an organization is our donors were worried about our members. When others were closing down, our donors were asking, how are our members? And can we rearrange our budget? Can we send more money so that we can be able to ensure that their enterprises continue to thrive during the pandemic. And then you can see in 2021, where we had 708 million. So we ensure that our members and enterprises continue to drive their resilience. And in 2022, which is just last year, you can be able to see that we managed to mobilize 717 million. So that's our previous strategy, the one that we were running up to 2022. So we thank our donors, because if you can see the graph, even after the pandemic, they were very confident about our program. And that's why we can be able to see the impact to our members. And the other thing that everybody would ask is, how are we able to maintain our burn rate, our internal controls, and resource mobilization support? Our burn rate is stands at 88%. The average in the market mostly is between 75% and to 80%. So that tells you that the funding that we get from the donors actually go to our members. There is impact because we can be able to burn at 88%. What about the internal controls? One of the greatest things that we have to ensure as an organization is about compliance. We have to comply with the NGO board and ensure that we file our returns, including the financials. We have to ensure that our audits are okay. We have to ensure that we also comply with our donors, because they have very stringent measures in terms of how we spend our money, how we are able to do the reporting. And also, we must be able to report to the government in terms of compliance. I can tell you that all of us, we have never failed in terms of compliance. Whether it is KRA, where you have to get the compliance certificates because we have managed our funds well, I think we are good at that. The other thing, I think we had the ICT, and that have helped us in terms of the reporting, in terms of monitoring our progress, where in the click of a button, you are able to send the report to the donor. At a click of a button, you're able to tell how is our cash flows. So the ICT have really played a great role for us to be able to be where we are. You can also be very sure that we have embraced every aspect of the ICT in terms of everybody is saying about paperless office. We can be able to say we are at 90% paperless office. So that helps us in management of the funds that we get from the donors, because we are not, everybody here, the management people, especially who are supposed to authorize transactions in the system, they can be able to go to the field, serve the people, and use the systems that we have to authorize the payment, to authorize maybe movement of funds, to ensure that every part of the branches is being supported, they are getting the resources, and also everything is moving, not because that somebody must be in the office, but because the systems are able to help us to do our controls very well. When it comes to the resource mobilization, I think we work with the team in mobilizations to ensure that the budgets reflect what is happening on the ground. Because when you fail at the point of the budget, then it becomes very, very hard in monitoring the expenditure. So we also play a great role in terms of resource mobilization and encompassing the internal controls. And I think that's why you can hear, if you talk about CEDA, we have CEDA phase 1, CEDA phase 2, CEDA phase 3. Why? Because of the internal controls that we have put in place in terms of financial management. When we talk about Hilti Foundation, we have Hilti Foundation 1, Hilti Foundation 2. I think now we are going to the 4th. So that tells us the internal controls and financial management is at a higher level, and we are able to fulfill the aspirations of the donors, and they can trust us with their money. And now I think where we want to go, I think somebody else will come and tell us, where do we want to go now that we have been able to achieve our previous strategic plan. Thank you very much, and be with us in this journey. And we appreciate by you coming here. I think we are going to do a lot. The other thing I think I have seen KCB is here. We have also thrived about on integrations. I think we appreciate KCB, we appreciate Equity for walking the journey with us. So be with us as we walk this journey of the new strategy. And after 5 years, we'll still be back here not to show 717 million, but to show billions of money that we have put in this strategy. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you for that, CPA Daniel Mwaniki. We absolutely appreciate that. Let me see the representation from KCB by a show of hands. Let me see the representation. Just by a show of hands. Thank you so much. We're glad to have you here with us. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to invite our next speaker. Especially when it comes to the HODs, we make sure that this is the icing on the cake and the cherry on top. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is passionate about supporting vulnerable communities out of poverty. That really stands out very well. She supports the Hand in Hand Eastern Africa mission through resource mobilization and strategy development, such key roles that are there. She is currently the head of strategy and resource mobilization at Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with a warm round of applause the icing on the cake and the cherry on top of Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. Catherine Owini Ngetich, as she comes forward.
How it tests. Is it testing nice? Is the ice testing nice or the cherry? Yeah, thank you so much for creating time to be together with us, the chief guest, our invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow staff, and the members who are present. We are so grateful that you made it to come. But we are more so grateful that you have walked with us. The journey has been a little long, has taken about 12 years, but you never left our side. We walked with you, you partnered with us, you gave us finances, you gave us technical support, and you just complemented our efforts. Because of you, we raised our last strategies budget that was 3.3 billion Kenya shillings. I need to know where to click. Now, you are here again because you are also interested in working with us. And we are so grateful to let you know that we have set out our mission and our vision. We have contextualized it into finances. As it has already been said, we have an ambition to double our impact. And we would like to reach 650,000 youth that are not employed, women that are marginalized, and men that need employment. Within this, we also hope to expand our reach from the current coverage within Kenya to 40 counties out of 47 counties. We are aspiring that for the people that we will mobilize, we will accelerate 30% of them. When we accelerate, we will be aspiring that one who was living below 200 Kenya shillings will ultimately be living on 800 shillings daily. Living on means they have gotten profits and now they're improving their livelihood. We would like you to join us because that journey will cost us over 6.6 billion shillings. How is it looking? That journey is already impressive, thanks to you, our partners and donors. In this starting year, as we launch today, the year 2023, the start of our strategy, you have already outdone yourself. We are so grateful because we are only negative about 11%, because out of the target of 0.8 billion Kenya shillings, we have already raised 0.84. So we are almost there. And so that means that we only have 0.059 and we close the day. Isn't that beautiful? To the coming, thank you. To the coming year, 2024, because again, you trusted our work, you committed ahead of time. And so for the year 2024, we are already looking up, because out of the target of 1.073, we have already raised 0.37 billion shillings. You have gone ahead of the strategy. We are so grateful. As we look forth, the graphs start to exchange, as you can see. The blue gives way to red, and the red disappears completely. We want that blue to continue going down as the red finds its way, so that by 2027, we will have hit our target of 1.8 billion Kenyan shillings. How can you walk with us? Once again, I think it's always good to keep with the neighbors that you know best, right? So we want to remain home. You are here because you have funded us, our current donors, as we appreciate. We come back to you and implore you that you may walk with us. We ask you to consider, if you are almost closing our contract with us, kindly consider to renew it. When you renew, would you kindly maintain? Don't reduce. And if you don't reduce, would you kindly increase? And if it's possible, can you double it? We will be very happy. We want to hit our double impact. You can only increase by doubling. It's an invitation. However, Hand in Hand is also making effort to diversify our income, so that besides what you give us, we also would like to generate internal revenue. We already do it in a very micro way, but we like to do this. We have set up a social enterprise. And this will complement some programs that are already paying themselves, like our Enterprise Incubation Fund. It is able to facilitate their programming. Now, we would like to have such more programming coming forth, but also to grow our enterprises to hit the scale. If you went outside there, you may have met some entrepreneurs whose products may be having KEBS already. So the standards are acceptable in Kenya. Some of them are hitting local market strongly, as you saw on social media stories, but they are also hitting global market. These products, we want to accompany them until they saturate all the possibilities of markets. That is where we also want to tap in our revenue. Further to this, we would like to do a campaign just to strengthen Hand in Hand's institution, and we will be calling on you. And to our prospective donors, we are so grateful once again that you joined us. I know that it can feel a little strange when you're getting in for the first time. You look around and maybe it's not so familiar, but we hope that the stories have brought you home. When you have heard about Damania and you have heard about Joyce, I hope that story has brought you home. We invite you once again. We have a way of helping to start small, so that 20,000 Kenya shillings can be able to bring change. And we can also grow that to a village. And you can be able to support a village, community uplift programs, but you can also support a whole program. And we are more excited even when you commit to us a revolving fund. Safaricom is here, and we have been revolving their funds for the longest time. And if you give us even such level of support, the enterprise will grow. May I finish by saying, we leverage on partnership. You are here because you have, You are here because you're partnering with us. We really also appreciate that. We want to tap into that relationship to strengthen our voice, to project our voice louder. We also would like to utilize that space for own shared positioning. As you grow, we grow. So we position ourselves together. We also would like to maintain portfolios that are formal, formalize our relationships so that we can have shared values, mutual agreements that we can all follow. Last and not least, we hope to tap into your technical knowledge and your abilities so that we can grow strong and our enterprises can thrive. We appreciate your support, all of you, and we invite you to join with us. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Yes, thank you for that, Catherine. We appreciate. And I love what you said about do not reduce. You can maintain, but don't only maintain, but increase. All right, so that now we can be able to work together and you can be able to be part of this success journey that we currently have. So even when you look at the pictorials that are being displayed out there, when you look at also the exhibitors out there, you can definitely be part of that particular journey. All right, so thank you for that. We totally appreciate. Thank you for a fantastic presentation. At this particular point in time, we would like to invite one of our guests from Safaricom Foundation, and she is currently the program manager and also the partnership lead at the Safaricom Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate with a warm round of applause Sophia Onyango as she comes to on stage. Welcome, Sophia. It's good to have the green in here.
Thank you very much. That was really an ambush. I was coming here as a guest. I was coming here to listen and to learn more about Hand in Hand. I didn't know I was going to be called up here to talk, but here I am. As we've been told, my name is Sophia Onyango. I work for Safaricom Foundation as a program manager, and I'm also the partnership lead. I'm pleased to be here today because I have worked with Hand in Hand for the past 2 years. I know Safaricom has actually worked with Hand in Hand for about 8 years. At Safaricom, our purpose is to transform lives. And I'm glad to know that Hand in Hand is here to transform lives, to remove people from poverty. We have 3 focus areas, and we focus on health, education, and economic empowerment. Economic empowerment is where Hand in Hand falls in. As Catherine mentioned, we've actually worked with them and given them a revolving fund, which has worked very well. It has increased in number, and they've been able to support so many enterprises, and we are happy to be part of that development. I know there's much that could be said about Hand in Hand, but unfortunately I can't say much today. I'll leave it for you to tell us exactly how you plan to work with us. I know Catherine has also asked us not to stop supporting Hand in Hand. She's requested that we can double what it is that we are giving right now. We've had the cry. I will take back the message. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophie, for that. And we are glad that you're going to take the message back home. And definitely we are proud to be associated also with Safaricom, and also we appreciate your continued support and patronage, even in this particular journey. We look forward and we're glad to have you here in our strategic able to work together in this particular journey. So thank you so much. Let's appreciate Sophie one more time. All right, fantastic. So I'd like to call upon our next speaker, and we are glad to have the various partners who are already here on board with us. Please just stand to the person who is sitting next to you, give them a warm high five, and just tell them thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your partnership. Turn to the other, and even if they didn't take your call in the last 2 weeks, send your messages to them. They were busy. Just appreciate them. Okay, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the presence of having a man who is currently the Director of Business Development Africa and Kiva's regional representative. Let me tell you one thing, he sits on numerous boards, but one of the things that you can be able to find out from him is that he has a wealth of experience over 20 years. He's acted as a CEO at AMFI, where he successfully spearheaded the turnaround of an association. One of the things, whenever you have a conversation with him, he can be able to turn anything around, and I need him in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. David as he comes on stage.
Ian, I am not sure where you have been getting these stories from. But I am most grateful for the invitation. As I was seated there, and especially when the board chair, Amalia, was speaking, I almost felt like I was a fly in your room when you are practically preparing your speech. Because incidentally, the story, even though coincidentally we were together in that field visit last year in Nyandarua, I exactly had the exact same story about Lillian, and I was sharing about the exact same thing with Albert earlier in the morning. But let me stick to my speech, to our chief guest, who I tried to Google last night how to pronounce your second name. I hope I'll be able to get it right. Her Excellency Caroline Virginie. Is that how you pronounce it? That's what Google told me. So don't blame me. That's Google. Our invited donors, the chair of Hand in Hand Board, Amalia Johnson, the CEO of East Africa, Hand in Hand East Africa, my friend Albert Wabugu, all the board members of Hand in Hand, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Hey, good morning. Excellent. I want to most sincerely thank Hand in Hand for inviting me, and in extension, Kiva, in this important event of launching your 2023-2027 strategic plan. My name is David Kitusa, and I lead Kiva's work in the Africa region. And as a way of introduction, Kiva is a global nonprofit with a mission to expand financial access to help underserved communities to thrive. We specifically do this by leveraging technology through a crowdfunding platform. Started back in 2005, Kiva provides risk-tolerant and flexible crowd-funded capital to low-income business entrepreneurs and smallholder farmers in over 80 countries globally. In particular, we focus on what we refer to as underfunded areas that we consider to be high risk and high social impact areas that include agriculture, and in particular smallholder farmers, refugees and displaced persons, women, green and clean energy, water and sanitation, among many others. Since our inception, Kiva has disbursed over $1.8 billion to over 4.6 million borrowers in over 80 countries. With a crowdfunding platform, anyone in this room can lend a minimum of $25 to an entrepreneur of your choice. Again, this is not a donation, but it's a loan. As you identify a borrower onto the website, and you lend to them, you get repaid, you lend again, and the cycle of impact continues. I thought about briefly sharing about my career, which has been mostly in microfinance. Back in the days before the invention of M-Pesa, and I'm not trying to ask you to approximate my age, but those days we used to use motorbikes to be able to access deep rural microfinance clients. And we would collect cash and put it in our backpacks and carry it 20, 30 kilometers to the nearest bank. Of course, you are lucky if you didn't get accosted by thugs and the entire collection was stolen before you could get to the bank. That was then, before the invention of M-Pesa. Back then, financial access in this country was very low, and mobile banking was not even available. The 2021 FinAccess survey notes that financial access in Kenya has increased from 41.3% back in 2006 to 83.7% in 2021, with the expansion mostly driven by technology. What does this mean for us? In my opinion, I don't actually think there is necessarily lack of funding and especially debt to the low-income business entrepreneurs. And especially in Kenya, where we have over 40 banks in this country, 13 microfinance banks, hundreds of credit-only microfinance institutions, and many hundreds of fintechs and digital financial service providers. I think the problem is having well-structured, demand-driven financial products that truly address the needs of the people that we are meant to serve. A lot of low-income people will struggle to get relevant, sustainable, and affordable financial services that address their needs. And I guess that's why the digital lenders are very popular in this country. I think Kenya is one among few countries whereby you can practically download an app, and in very few seconds, you can be able to have a loan in your account. That brings me to my second point. I know money and credit is important, but I think sometimes it's overrated. The low-income people don't just need money alone. They need business training. They need access to information, market linkages for their products, insurance, savings products, and many other things. And that's where our partnership with Hand in Hand as an organization comes in. When I first heard about Hand in Hand back in 2013, 2014, I said, you know what? We have finally gotten an organization that can be able to help prepare new and existing business entrepreneurs on how to start and run businesses before they can get a loan. I think most lenders, and I have been in that field for quite a number of years, a lot of times end up messing up our borrowers by assuming that their business's only requirement is credit, when in actual fact, a lot of times they need business training. Hand in Hand focuses mainly on reaching women and youth, and they aim to alleviate poverty through social mobilization, which the heads of department highlighted here quite very clearly. Unlike many other organizations, Hand in Hand trains clients before they get a loan. Just like Kiva, Hand in Hand East Africa targets low-income, vulnerable individuals who are excluded from formal financial services, majority of whom live in rural areas and mostly involved in agriculture, with quite a number of them being the first time to be able to borrow a loan from any organization. Hand in Hand has developed an extensive 9-month enterprise development training program that ensures each borrower has basic business and loan management skills prior to receiving a loan from Kiva. Loans from Kiva help those borrowers to start and enhance their business enterprises. They are the only partner in Kenya, and I want to repeat this, that they are the only partner in Kenya and in the region that is currently offering high-risk startup loans, and particularly to women and the youth. I think they deserve a clap. Since 2014, when we partnered with Hand in Hand, they have been able to utilize over $2 million and given that money in terms of credit for borrowers to be able to start businesses to over 9,700 borrowers. Lastly, allow me to share with you what makes our work both impactful and exciting. I know there are not many jobs that you can be able to do, be excited, and still be impactful at the same time. And I know I speak on behalf of many people in this room, and I'm sure we have had quite a number of stories about the impact that Hand in Hand is creating. When I say the best part of our job is spending time with our clients, listening to their dreams and aspirations, and collecting feedback on how we can be able to improve our services. Every time I go out to the field personally, and I'm sure I share that with a lot of people in this room, is a constant reminder of how fortunate we are. A lot of times, many things that we take for granted, having a decent meal, having a decent place to live, paying for your children's school fees. There are many things that ordinarily we take for granted. But I think for me personally, every time I get an opportunity to go out to the field, and I've gone out to the field quite a number of times with Hand in Hand, it's a constant reminder of how fortunate I am. So finally, I want to share, and I will not give all the details again, because like I said, I almost feel like a fly on the wall when the board chair was sharing a story, because it's exactly the same story that I wanted to share with you about Lillian, because incidentally, we were on the same trip and actually in the same car when we visited Nyahururu sometimes last year. But I wanted to say, without probably repeating what she has said, that Lillian has 3 children, one in university, the other one in high school. By last year, one was actually a Form 4 candidate, and the other one was in primary school. And she is a farmer, and this is what I remember her telling us when we visited her, that in her own words, she said, "I love farming fruits." Like that really stuck in my mind. And again, like Amalia said, she started farming as a consequence of COVID-19, when the husband lost a job. A few things just to highlight over and above what was said is the fact that when she connected with the Hand in Hand, one of the things that she was trained was a new variety of strawberry, which was different from what originally she was using. And that helped her to be able to make the kind of revenues that we had, 20,000 Kenya shillings in a month. And further to that, she told me that, or she told us that she also learned how to be able to keep proper records. She has a Facebook page. And when you look at Lillian, and our photo was somewhere here when we started, it's really interesting how low-income entrepreneurs are able to leverage on technology and social media to be able to market our produce. And then lastly, she also grows pineapples, has a few rabbits as well, like majority of low-income smallholder farmers, poultry, and 2 dairy cows. And she uses the manure that she gets from the dairy cow and the poultry to be able to grow our crops, meaning that practically she doesn't need to be able to use any fertilizer. All our products are organic. Finally, she has created a job for one other person who actually does the watering of the fruits. I want to confirm to Catherine that Kiva as an organization, we are committing to continuing with you for the next 5 years. And over and above that, we will be cheering you on the sides as we also become your accountability partners on the things that you have committed to doing here. And of course, as I have said, the biggest and most enjoyable part of my work is spending time out in the field. I hope, Albert, I have convinced you the next time you're taking Excellency, the ambassador, out to see clients, I hope I have convinced you enough. Please don't leave me. With those few remarks, I want to once again thank you most sincerely for inviting me to this occasion. And I want to wish you the very best and success as you launch your new strategic plan. May the Lord bless you.
Thank you for that, Mr. David Itusa. And also thank you, if I had correct, that you are willing to work with us another 5. All right, another 5. Thank you for that. Let's appreciate him one more time with a round of applause. David is the kind of man that you need to have in your life. I tell you, they make a decision right then and there. He won't take you around and say, send me your proposal. Send me your flyer. I'll have a look at it. My team will have a look at it. Stands here and he drops the mic and says, I am with you another 5. Let's appreciate him one more time. All right, fantastic. We'd also want to appreciate our online guests. We thank you for being here with us. And one of the things that I can be able to see, even as I check on the webinar, is that we can be able to see and appreciate Mr. Anthony Mwangi. Thank you for that. You're saying overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity, it's an act of justice. And that is why Hand in Hand Eastern Africa exists. Thank you for that, Anthony. Let me just read also one more. I can see Mr. Dim Kenya. He says, I am much in love with this initiative. I came from Kitale to do, and you have a branch here, and you work with people also with disabilities. So thank you for that. Whenever we come to Kitale, Mr. M. Kenya will definitely come and say hi to you. All right. So we are honored and privileged to have our online guests with us. Keep the chats coming. We will just call them out and also appreciate as we proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you're seated next to a lady, hand to her and tell her, I appreciate you. 100%. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It's important. It's important. When Mr. Muli was presenting, and definitely he has his hands on the ground, and there's one part you said that even the ladies, they is it their identification cards, their IDs, they give it to the men to keep for them. And in Nairobi, it's us giving us our bank cards to the women. But one of the things you can realize is because, and the way when you brought it out and you said, because they are considered as children. And now we're living in a time where, and I am so proud that ladies have been empowered, and the consortium of ladies who are coming up. When I listen to Joyce presenting about the processes, when I listen to our board chair, Amalia, and how she's passionate about even having the purpose and being optimistic, and listening to Catherine coming and talking about how we can be able to mobilize and how we can be able to move forward. That gives me definitely a breath of fresh air, seeing women leaders coming here and just guiding us and talking to us about strategy and way forward. That is why I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that even the women leaders that we have amongst us can be able to take us forward, and they can be able to walk this next mile with us. And at this particular point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I have the extreme and absolute pleasure and honor of inviting our chief guest. She is currently the ambassador and permanent representative of Sweden at the Embassy of Sweden to Kenya. Put your hands together for Her Excellency Caroline Bishiri as she comes forward. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Your Excellency. We're glad to have you here with us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, the team, ladies and gentlemen. It's a true pleasure to be here today. I think you should consider to engage this man as some sort of sales consultant, because I think he could sell a fish to a fisherman, or, you know, an egg to a hen. And he's doing it with a lot of grace and with embellishments that convince the buyer. So thank you very much. And I think you could be useful in this organization, because you don't only need to produce, you also need to sell, you know. So I'm really grateful to join you here this morning. And when you launch your plan for the next 5 years for Hand in Hand in Eastern Africa. And for you who are not familiar with the history, why Sweden is invited here and me here to represent the government of Sweden is because of the founder of Hand in Hand is one of the legendary corporate leaders in Sweden, Mr. Percy Barnevik. And so therefore this organization has a very strong link with my country. I would also say that he comes from a tradition. We are benefiting from a high standard of life in Sweden because of our companies. Those are the ones that are feeding us, and we are a small country or medium-sized country today, around 10 million inhabitants, but we have many companies that are present around the world, and many of them here in Kenya as well. I'm going tonight. I'm going to celebrate 150 years for Atlas Copco, which is a well-known company. They have been here. They're doing compressors. Now we are going into the technical part. But anyhow, they have been in Kenya for 67 years. Another well-known company, Tetra Pak, for example, opened its first investment abroad in Kenya, before it was Kenya, when it was still a British colony. And I think many of you here have got their school milk in the Tetra Pak, and there are so many others, and many also of these companies through their foundations are supporting Hand in Hand. So that brings me to the fact that we have two new governments. Kenya has a new government since September, and Sweden the same. We had our elections 1 month later, and we also got a new government. And those governments have some things in common, and some things that joins you up with this organization as well, because Hand in Hand is really working with the grassroots, or with the hustlers, if you use another terminology. And you did that even before it became fashionable or politically fashionable in Kenya. But I think your mission goes very well with your new government's mission here, to empower the grassroots, to allow them to start their businesses and to survive with their own means. And I think it's a very good way of doing it, because the government's money is always finite. There's never enough for everyone. And I used to say that here, it doesn't matter at what economic level you are as a country, the money is never enough. If you follow the discussions in Sweden, the government's money is not enough for the needs that the people perceive that we have. So the solution is really to generate money from your own activities. My new government has, for the first time, I think in history, joined in one ministerial portfolio, trade and development. They have a strong belief that it is business and trade that uplifts people and develop people. And they want to bring also our companies better into the development work that we do. So I see a lot of synergies here, a lot of things, a lot of stars aligning themselves around the Swedish-Kenyan cooperation, where Hand in Hand fits in very well. To come back to my speech now, as you said as well, we cannot go stray too far away from what we are supposed to say. But our development cooperation is mainly channeled through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA, and their aim is really to create opportunities for better living conditions for people living in poverty and under oppression. So we usually work with the most marginalized people. We are articulating this vision here in Kenya through our current strategy, which goes from 21 to 25, and where we work in 3 main areas: democracy, human rights, rule of law, and governance. We are, for example, accompanying since a long time the devolution process in Kenya, and I will come back to that. Environment, climate change, and biodiversity. Very, very timely right now with the drought we see in not only northern Kenya, but it's actually spreading into many counties. And where I personally see that there will be a need for a huge change of life for many people in northern Kenya, and that have to find new outcomes. This is also an underserved area in Kenya, there's a need for many services. And I think these type of enterprises can come in and be very helpful in that transformation that I think is unfortunately inevitable, because I think we all can agree that this drought that we see now is an effect of the climate change. And then thirdly, we work on inclusive economic development, and that's where Hand in Hand is firmly placed. And I have looked at your plan for the strategic plan that you are launching with a very nice title of Inspiring Hope, Dignity and Choice, which I think is the optimistic approach that we all need to take. We cannot give up. And I also note that you want to amplify this by doubling the reach and the number of unemployed women, youth, and men up to the number of 650,000, and accelerate 30% of these beneficiary enterprises, enhance their resilience, and increase their profitability. And I think that is also a very important thing, that too much enterprise and also farming here is going on of a very low level where you never really raise. In our lifetime, we always we start out modestly, but we hope to gain income during the years and uplift ourselves. And I think far too often in Kenya, people remain stagnant at the same level, and that creates a certain level of hopelessness as well. And I think there you come in and show the way on how you can really get this increase of income. And it really resonates with the desire of every human being on this earth, and especially those who live in poverty in both Kenya and the wider East African region. And I think you're targeting this transformative approach that you seek to harness the power of working directly with the communities, with the individuals, and with the private sector to make this inclusive economic development. And that's also what we need to see. And KEPSA, the private sector enterprises federation here in Kenya, talks about this approach of trying to get people in from the very informal parts of economy into the more formal status. So you can grow the tax base, and by that also grow the social security system and the services to people. And I think thereby providing this this training in formal, how you formally run an enterprise is very important, because to be able to make that step with time, not the first day, but with time into the more formalized sector is quite important for Kenya as a nation and as a society. We also see that you have this group approach that is a fertile ground for this rights-based approach, empowering communities, empowering women, and empowering their rights. I had a group of Kenyan businessmen who came to see me the other day, and they spoke very frankly and bluntly, and they said to me, you know, if you want anything done here, give that task to a woman. I don't know what they base that on, but they seem to prefer a female workforce, because they said then things are getting done. And I think therefore also there is an optimism in your messages here, when you allow these women really, or help them to take their own destiny in their hands. That also gives them the empowerment that if you are financially independent, you can walk away from many difficult situations that many women meet here with, for example, gender-based violence. But if you don't have the money, you are forced to stay in abusive relations, etc. So I think that is also creating another human rights-based effect on what you are doing. And the embassy has started to work with you in 2010. And we see this new strategy that you have goes very well with our strategy. So we really hope that we can continue our cooperation with you. I wanted to point you also to the fact that, as I said, we have supported in several programs the devolution process and the empowerment of the counties in delivering services to the populations. And when we see what you are doing in the agricultural sector, which is your largest area, we want to point out the special linkages that you can have and the partnership with the Agricultural Sector Development Support Program, which is a program that we are financing in all counties, all the 47 counties. And I hope that, and I know in certain cases that has already opened a window to you to work with their different chains of agricultural products. What happens is really that the counties choose 3 products that they want to develop their chains in, and that is a good occasion for you to work with them and also make them aware of your presence and the activities you have, and thereby also formalize this relations with the counties. So we hope that you will be able to continue to both deepen and integrate further in this development work in important areas of environment, climate change, and biodiversity. And also the increasingly important role in what I just talked about, the sexual reproductive health and rights agenda, where, for example, the fight against gender-based violence is very important. And also, as we all know, the economic growth of a country is linked to the growth of its population. If the growth of the population supersedes the growth of the economy, people are getting poorer, notwithstanding that the economy grows. So it's also important, educated women who are busy with their activities and have a business to run, tend to limit the number of children and can give them a good upbringing and send them to school, as have been talked about so much here. So finally, with these remarks, I don't know if it's my task, but I wish to declare the Hand in Hand Eastern Africa 5-year strategic plan officially launched. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks and also your continued patronage. We absolutely appreciate that. We would like something that we would like to give you as the Hand in Hand Eastern Africa team. And at this particular point in time, I'd like to call upon one of our members, Professor Kathleen Ndongo, to come on stage. Professor, let's appreciate Professor. She comes on stage. I would like to call back on stage Her Excellency Kathleen Ndongo to come and to present it here on stage. Okay. So we'll hand it over. And then picture, and then now we can proceed. Even as we proceed, I'd like to just also appreciate our online guests. I can see one comment from Anthony Maina. I can see one from Anthony Maina. He's saying poverty is the parent of crime. And thank you, Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, for providing a way out of this vice. I can also see Phyllis Githi. Phyllis Githi is saying every day in the field is a lesson. It is the changes impact we see with men and women and youth that motivates us to do better. So thank you for that. And we want to stay engaged with you. And let me just read one more. This is Martha Ndaba. She's saying, entrepreneurship is a key that can turn the lock of poverty, unlocking a brighter future for communities. So thank you to our online guests. We are glad and honored to have you here with us. And also thank you for staying engaged with us. To the delegates on the floor, give a high five to the person sitting next to you and tell them we are about to launch this. We are about to launch this. Your Excellency Caroline, I'd like to just call you just on this side. You're the one who's going to activate the countdown for our launch, our strategic launch, all right? So I want to give you this, and you will press the clicker, and once you point it to them, then the countdown starts. 5, 7, 6, 5. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for our strategic plan for the next 5 years that has actually now finally been launched. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all rise, let's all praise and appreciate this with a round of applause that the strategic plan for the next 5 years, 2023, 2027. Congratulations, hand in hand, Eastern Africa. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause, round of applause. The strategic plan is finally launched. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Congratulations, congratulations. And thank you. Please give a high five to the person sitting next to you and tell them the deal is done and the plan is ready. The plan is ready. Great, great, fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, you may have your seats. And at this point, I would like to call certain VVIPs on stage, and they're going to come with their strategic plan. I'd like to start with our CEO, Mr. Albert Wambugu, to come on stage. Let's appreciate him. Mr. Wambugu will be right at the center. We'd like to invite our chief guest, Her Excellency Caroline Bishoni, to also come on stage. I'd like to call upon our board chair, Amalia Johnson, to come on stage. Let's appreciate Amalia as she comes. Also, would like to call the Director of Business Development Africa at Kiva, Mr. David Kitusa, to come on stage. And finally, I'd like to call Mr. Abraham Bano. He's the chairman of the Strategic Plan Committee of the board. Let's appreciate him. All right, so they will just hold the strategic plan, and then we can have the lovely smiles there. We want to have this photo. If you can hold it for just 8 seconds and smile as hard as you can, we'll be extremely happy and glad. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together with a warm round of applause. The strategic plan is finally out, 2023 to 2027. Thank you very much. Another warm round of applause to our delegates. Thank you, thank you. Yes, our VVIPs, you may have your seats. Thank you very much. We are glad and honored. Oh my goodness. How many would love a copy of the strategic plan? Oh my goodness. But how many of us are excited about what is in store for Hand in Hand Eastern Africa? When I was listening to Her Excellency, and she alluded that probably might need someone for sales, Mr. Wambugu, I am just saying, you know, I didn't say it. Our chief guest mentioned it. But I guess I'll just stick to emceeing. But thank you so much. Congratulations. Congratulations. If you're seated next to someone from Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, give them a high five and tell them we are doing this. We're making this happen. We are doing this. Yes. Absolutely excited. Ladies and gentlemen, it has finally been launched. The plan is there. The roadmap is there. Your patronage, your support will be appreciated. It is a journey that cannot be walked by one person. Definitely, we want to walk this journey, all of us inclusively together. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to look back one day, probably after a few months, a few years, and say, look at what we have done. Look at the impacts that we have made. Look at the journey. Look at the milestones. Look at the lives that have been affected. Look at the businesses that we've been able to start up, families that have been impacted. It would be a beautiful thing that when you're old and gray and you're walking through the streets of Nairobi and you meet a young lady, probably in her 20s, in her prime, in her 30s, she stops you and says, thank you for the program. I was able to start a business and this is it. This is it. That is the legacy that we want to leave. All right. So thank you so much. At this particular point, I would like to call upon Mr. Abraham to come on stage. Mr. Abraham Bano. He is the chairman for the Strategic Plan Committee of the board. Let's appreciate him. He is going to come and give us a vote of thanks, and then now we can be able to proceed. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, MC, for such great work you have done today. This committee in which I stand here to represent today was created deliberately by the board to make sure that our eye is on the pole, so that we can be able to encourage and make management accountable for the activities that are before them, and in which our able donors have given us resources to ensure that people are helped, are given hope, dignity, and choice. So thank you very much, everyone who has come today. The donor, Your Excellency, thank you so much for accepting to come and be with us. And everyone else, our donors, thank you so much. We really appreciate. And the words of Catherine saying that, please consider staying with us and consider doubling and even increasing more of those resources so that we can deliver what you have had our management mention and what you have had even our own donors mention. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming. And thank you, online team, for being with us also as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bano. We appreciate you and thank you for the warm remarks. And we thank you for that. There are just two groups that we want to appreciate even as we come to a close. We would like to call upon the board for Hand in Hand Eastern Africa. The board members, if they can please all come on stage, led by their well-able chair. Amalia, if we can have them. The boards, let's have the board on stage. Let's appreciate them as they come. This is a revolving mic. We just want to hear just their name, all right? And probably what the role that they play on the board.
Ian, I'm sorry, I'm going to ignore you for 1 second. Just say, when I spoke earlier, I talked about the board and how they're custodians of the strategy. And I know we appreciated them on the way up, but I do want to underline this group give their time, their expertise, their networks. They support the organization to help it thrive. And I really don't think as a wider organization, we could achieve what we have achieved without them or what we hope to achieve. So thank you, all of you, for what you do. And I'll pass on. I think it was.
Yes, just the name.
Edwin Jamura, and I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Catherine Dugo. I'm happy to be a member of this board.
I am Felicitas Gitao Mutugu. I'm extremely excited and thank you everyone for coming.
I'm Janet Maro and I'm I'm a board member of Hand in Hand Eastern Africa and I'm from Tanzania. Thank you so much for all the support, for all the love, and let's do this. We can do it together if we work together strongly. And yes, let's go again on this new journey for another 5 years. Thank you so much.
Abraham Barno, I think likely the oldest member of the board today. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you. Let's appreciate them as they go to their seats. Let's appreciate them one more time with a round of applause. And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this particular point in time, I have the privilege and honor of handing the microphone to our CEO at the Hand in Hand Eastern Africa, Mr. Mbogo, so that we can be able to appreciate the Hand in Hand team. Let's appreciate our CEO.
Yeah, thank you once again. I'm standing here to recognize that a lot of efforts had gone into this. There are those people who almost slept here, so they are not forgotten. So that great team led by Catherine, and I would just want you to stand first. Where are the other team members? They were putting everything together in the late night. So thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much. The rest of the staff team of Hand in Hand, I want also to recognize you for the work you do every day, and we will continue to do from Monday. The staff of Hand in Hand, please, wherever you are, lift your hands and we appreciate you. Yes, I also want to recognize all those who we invited and you came. I may not know or read all the names, but I have seen so many of you. For those who have not been mentioned, I know we have our friends in German Technologies. I've seen you there. I've seen Dr. Barak from FAO. Thank you so much. I've seen our able consultant Sustained, Tom. I've seen the people who helped actually put this strategy together. That is JPENT consultants. They are strategy making experts. Yes, I know we have not mentioned also on this table, SASRA, the SACO Regulatory Authority. Yeah, thank you for ably representing and go and give our greetings. I've seen KILDI, as Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute. Thank you for the work you've helped us also to equip our members with technologies. I know, of course, there were those service providers whom we have relied upon. Service providers, kindly just say hi. Yeah, I can see Peak and Dale. They were helping us with the event. We didn't know how to do this. This is the first time we are doing it. So if it's well done, they have shown us how to do it. Maybe you can also look out also for them. And Ian, the way you've done it, well, yeah, you have a job. Of course, the crew and the host hotel, thank you so much. I may not say thank you enough to all, but let it be that wherever you are, feel appreciated. Those also who are watching us and streaming live, thank you so much. I've even received a very good message from our ex-employees, somebody who left the organization, and they told me this is very good. And wherever they are, all those who are saying thank you, we appreciate them. I don't want to maybe make a mistake of telling you where the meal will be, but I want to ask who will direct us better. You can, eh? So asante sana kwa kila mtu. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate our CEO once again with a round of applause. Thank you, Jarida, as you've heard. I'm reporting on Monday. Send me the pin. Send me that pin. Okay, at this particular point in time, we would like, first of all, to close with a word of prayer. And I'd like to call upon Dennis. Dennis, man of God. Yes. Soaked in anointing to come and close with a word of prayer. Thank you. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you.
And as Dennis prepares, I forgot Jane Sabuni, our country manager for Hand in Hand Tanzania. Yes, she traveled, and thank you so much for that support. It's our sister organization there as we build to cover Tanzania as well. And with that, she said she'll do it in the next strategy for Tanzania. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we rise for a word of prayer? Okay, let's believe and pray. Father, Lord, in the name of Jesus, we are grateful for a day that you made, that we should be glad and rejoice in it, O God. And we thank you for many are the plans of man, but only you bring it to fruition, O God. And we pray that you may be able to lead us throughout this strategic period. It is an ambitious one, and we can only do it through your guidance and help, O God. We pray that you may be with all of us as hand-in-hand staff, as the board, and even for our partners, because we are not able to do all these things alone, O God. We pray that you may enable us to even have an ecosystem where we would be able to coexist and cause impact to the people that we serve. And because we know that serving humanity is serving you as well, O God, we pray that you may enable us to be able to do all this. We pray that you may also be with our partners and donors as we journey through this strategic period, O God. We pray that we may be able to find resources to be able to fulfill all these things, O God. Thank you for even the management of the hotel here, O God. We pray that you may be with them and guide them, O God. We thank you for the wonderful hosting that they have granted unto us, O God. And we pray that for the good things that we have been able to pick, we may carry it out there, O God, and even share with the people who are not able to see it, O God. Once again, Lord, we pray that you may be with each and every single person who came here individually, those who are represented, and even for those who are watching us online, may you be with them and guide them all through. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Finally, we've come to the end of the session. To our online guests, thank you so much for your engagement. To our delegates on the floor, we encourage you, if you can be able to at least buy a few items from our exhibitors who are out there, it will mean a lot to them. Give a high five to the person standing next to you and tell them, let's do this. Have a fantastic weekend. Please get a giveaway package that is for you as you walk out. It's right there at the desks. All right. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a fantastic weekend.
We said somewhere around there in a very small scale. By that time, I could do an estimate of 1,000 on a bad day. On a good day, we could do around 2,500 to 3,000. Everyone is talking about there is no job in Kenya. There is opportunity because there are people like Hand in Hand who are willing to take you through the process. You understand? It is cost-free. Just need to learn. They will empower you in every way possible. You don't need to be employed for you to survive well in our country. You can start something small with passion, with love, with what you're doing, you grow.
tuna mradi ambao sisi tumekuja nao, na ile ambayo mradi tumekuja nao ni hii mradi wa kutumia coconut husk, replace zile tree nursery ambazo zinatumia nini, zinatumia paper bags as sporting bags.
We collect these coconut husks. If you walk along the beach, you'll get a lot of the coconut husks. So we collect them, we dry them for about 2 weeks, then we dig a hole inside. If you look at this one, it has a hole down here for aeration. When we want to sell or we also want to plant our seedlings, we don't cut the coconut husk. We just dig a hole big enough for this to be swallowed in, and then we place it there. It makes the plant firm. For example, along the river, when it floods, the plants may be washed away. But when these are there, it helps the plants to stay firm on the ground.
Kwa kupitia kwa mradi hiyo tumepata tunajilipia manyumba na pia tunapeleka watoto wetu mashule.
Nimefunzwa na hand in hand, mtoto ako na haki ya kusoma na ako na haki ya kuishi. Na mimi nimefunzwa mambo na biashara. Nikajisemea kwa moyo, mimi vile sasa nimejua mambo na biashara, nitahustle na nimsomeshe huyu mtoto wangu na nimteke ya huyo mwenye amemzaa. Nikaomba Mungu, akakuja akajifungua. Chief naye akapata jukumu. Juu chief ikabidi hata yeye atoe pesa ya mfuko yake, huyu mtoto tumpeleke shule. Tukampeleka akafanya KCP. By the way aliperform, tunaweza sema vizuri juu the whole of that corona hakusoma. Tena alienda kwa rescue center kwa darasa. Wakati alipelekwa afanye KCP, alishinda wale wenye walikuwa hapo kwa darasa. Kwa sasa ako form 2 anasoma.
Working with hand in hand has been most beneficial to us. Kwa sababu tangu tufanye na hand in hand, I don't know where would have at the moment, kwa sababu all the improvement ya maziwa ambayo tumekuwa tukifanya, it is through hand in hand. The trainings especially, I know you have been very helpful. You have brought us from almost zero where we are at the moment. It is because of hand in hand. So I would recommend any other group to work with hand in hand, because wanaenda a long way to assist the farmer.
Bookkeeping helps in terms of knowing your clients, in terms of just knowing Fridays, I normally sell 100 pieces. I have to be ready with 100 pieces this Friday. You need to know that this is the amount I've used, this is the amount that has gone in this fish, and this is the amount I need to charge so that I'm okay. So to anybody else who is doing business and is not doing bookkeeping, there is nothing small in bookkeeping. Even if it is Ndimu, 5 bob, please list it down. Profits might cheat you. You might think you're doing a big profit, but that's not the right profit. Hands in Hand actually just taught us and told us bookkeeping is this way and this way and this way.
Kwa majina naitwa Florence Inet. Mimi nafanya na shirika la Hand in Hand kwa CBO inaitwa Reto. Wametufunza rights ama haki ya wamama sana sana. Tuliambiwa advocacy ni kama kuongea ama kutetea haki ya ule mtu mwenye hawezi akajieleza. Ile kitu moja ambayo nashukuru Hand in Hand ni watu ambao wanachukua action, so wametusaidia sana.
Mi ningependa kupongeza Hand in Hand kwanza kwa mahali wametufikisha. Kazi hiyo wao sijui mahali tungekuwa, lakini ningependa kuwa request wasituashirie,
kwa sababu mmetutoa habari na kwenye mnatupeleka ni bari.
They have no time. Hata wanataka kutupeleka kwa tour mahali watu wetu wataenda waone, na mkulima kama hao ako na kuku 4,000.
We said somewhere around there in a very small scale. By that time, I could do an estimate of 1,000 on a bad day. On a good day, we could do around 2,500 to 3,000. Everyone is talking about there is no job in Kenya. There is opportunity because there are people like Hand in Hand who are willing to take you through the process. You understand? It is cost-free. Just need to learn. They will empower you in every way possible. You don't need to be employed for you to survive well in our country. You can start something small with passion, with love, with what you're doing, you grow.
Tuna mradi ambao sisi tumekuja nao, na ile ambayo mradi tumekuja nao ni hii mradi wa kutumia coconut husk, replace zile tree nursery ambazo zinatumia nini, zinatumia paper bags as sporting bags.
We collect these coconut husks. If you walk along the beach, you'll get a lot of the coconut husks. So we collect them, we dry them for about 2 weeks. Then we dig a hole inside. If you look at this one, it has a hole down here for aeration. When we want to sell or we also want to plant our seedlings, we don't cut the coconut husk. We just dig a hole big enough for this to be swallowed in, and then we place it there. It makes the plant firm. For example, along the river, when it floods, the plants may be washed away. But when these are there, it helps the plants to stay firm on the ground.
Kwa kupitia kwa mradi hiyo, tumepata tunajilipia manyumba na pia tunapeleka watoto wetu mashule.
Nimefunzwa na Hand in Hand, mtoto ako na haki ya kusoma na ako na haki ya kuishi. Na mimi nimefunzwa mambo na biashara. Nikajisemea kwa moyo mimi, vile sasa nimejua mambo na biashara, nitahustle na nimsomeshe huyu mtoto wangu na nimteke ya huyo mwenye amemzaa. Nikaomba Mungu, akakuja akajifungua. Chief naye akapata jukumu. Juu chief ikabidi hata yeye atoe pesa ya mfuko yake, huyu mtoto tumpeleke shule. Tukampeleka akafanya KCP. By the way aliperform, tunaweza sema vizuri juu the whole of that corona kusoma. Tena alienda kwa rescue center kwa darasa, Wakati alipelekwa afanye KCP alishinda wale wenye walikuwa hapo kwa darasa. Kwa sasa ako form 2.